We have with us Mr. Abhay Gandhi, CEO of Sun Pharmaceuticals India business, to talk us through the consumer foray and the business overall. Thanks a lot, Mr. Gandhi, for speaking with CNBC TV 18. Consumer has become like one of the big push areas for Sun Pharmaceuticals. You're launching products from the Ranbaxy pipeline as well as from the Sun Pharmaceuticals portfolio as well. What is the strategic direction for the consumer business for Sun Pharma, and what sort of growth do we anticipate in the coming year?
So I think if you look at the overall business scenario today, with higher disposable incomes, better awareness, better knowledge, there are products and therapies and segments where patients also, initiate their own prescriptions and usage of the product. You also have situations where a doctor prescribes a product and then the consumer starts going back to the retailer and on their own keeps purchasing the product for a length of time. So the whole idea is, can we leverage this in some way and look at products where we can use the higher reach of the global consumer health team, which goes beyond doctors, which is the case with the pharmaceutical marketing group, and try and reach out to patients directly. So the Ranbaxy portfolio already had two strong products with Revitalign and then Diwali franchises. We just added a new segment a few months ago, which was the Antacid group with PepFizz and PepMelt. And now with the launch of Suncros, which is the existing product in the prescription basket, we're going to be launching this product also now through both the pharma prescription teams as well as the global consumer health team. The intention that we have is, can we use this franchise and take it global? Can we create some large global brands in the consumer space using this particular group? And that's the second attempt that we will have going forward.
So if we talk of the segments that you would be operating in, if you could highlight from the consumer space, which are the areas, which are the segments that you would be operating in, and in terms of the positioning for brands like Volini as well as Revitalign, because they're quite big brands, how are they doing in the market right now?
Answering the second part of the question first, I think the effort has been good in these products and the results are beginning to show. For the product which we launched a few months ago, of course it's too soon for me to comment, but Revitalign and Volini, they seem to be doing pretty well in the market. So essentially for the present moment, I think there are four areas that we are focusing on. Nutritional products, that is where Revitalign fits in. Then you have the analgesic and the pain category, which is where Volini fits in. The third is the Antacid category, and fourth is the cosmeceutical category. So as of now, I think we are comfortable looking at these four segments. Does not prevent us from looking at something else going ahead, but I think to be able to populate these segments with good products and therefore increasing the offering to the patients, I think would probably be the first priority for us going ahead, rather than getting into new categories as such.
If we talk of numbers and if we talk of the revenue stream from the consumer space, what percentage of revenues would the consumer space be contributing to Sun Pharmaceuticals base as of now? And let's say in the next 1 year, where do you expect it to go?
So traditionally we haven't been giving business-wise breakup and the numbers. Let me just say that it is relatively a smaller part of the business now, but we think it can become far bigger than what it is. And clearly in the foreseeable future, it will be one of the fastest growing businesses for Sun Pharma going ahead.
What will be the growth rate for this business?
My sense is that it will continue to grow at more than twice the rate of the typical prescription pharmaceutical business.
Which is around 10 to 12%.
That's the normal.
It would be around 20-25%.
In the initial phase, that's the minimum that we could be looking at.
All right. And if I talk to you about the Ranbaxy pipeline for the consumer as well as the Sun, what percentage would the Ranbaxy pipeline be contributing?
Honestly, we stopped looking at it that way. It's a combined entity for more than a year now. So we just look at what does it mean for the combined unified Sun. So we don't look at the heritage of the product as being from Ranbaxy or from Sun. This is the business that Sun is present in. This is a business that Sun wants to become large in. And what can we do to augment the product basket is what we would be looking at.
From the international foray, which are the countries that you would be pushing your products now that the Doma portfolio also adds into your consumer business? Which would be your key markets globally? And if we could divide the revenue segment, domestic consumer as well as international consumer, if you could give us a sense on where it is.
As I said, currently the international business is pretty small. A large part of this business actually is India driven. Coming to which markets it could be in, I mean, clearly when you're looking at global consumer health, you need some economies of scale, and therefore you can't look at, very small markets. So you'll have to look at essentially, markets which are relatively large in terms of population, markets where you have relatively large middle class and therefore disposable incomes, and the level of knowledge and awareness and education to be able to, go out and, buy their own product without necessarily sometimes a doctor's prescription, depending on the category, of course. So these are the kind of markets that we would be looking at.
Where would you be taking your products first?
Probably, we currently also market our products in Romania, which is a big market for us from a consumer health point of view. We also are reasonably large in Russia. To fortify ourselves in those markets, and to then look at far more newer markets at what we would. But we are what we are. I mean, till we get into a market, I mean, I would not, open up and say that we want to get into market X.
Just want to understand, would inorganic route be a strategy to push up your consumer business? Because you have been looking at some of the other tie-ups from the merger space, but...
Yeah. I mean, whether we look at the prescription business of our India domestic formulation or for the GCH business, acquisition is always an option. And if we get something which, goes into the kind of products that we wish to get into, and we see a sensible acquisition at a sensible cost which we could turn around or make it far bigger, we would be obviously open to that.
So you look at also the overall India business for Sun Pharmaceuticals. We've seen some challenges in the Indian market as far as pricing is concerned. Then there was a ban on the combination drugs by the NPPA. What, according to you, and how are you strategizing right now in your business to tide over these challenges? Your last quarter numbers for India business looked pretty healthy. Going forward, what is the plan?
I think we are very clear, and we have a very simple philosophy that we want to grow faster than the market growth. The challenges that you are talking about are external challenges which we cannot influence. But to be able to operate in the current regulatory environment with the challenges of price controls and ban on FDC is what is controllable within us. To be able to launch new products and to market existing products well, to increase access to the patients, whereby which we can maintain our growth rates, is what we would be focusing on. And I think going ahead, I think we should be able to grow faster than the market, even in the current financial year.
So what sort of product launches should we anticipate Sun Pharma to come out with in let's say in the next 3 to 4 quarters?
I mean, what we typically try and do is to have at least 1 or 2 good product launches in each of the business units that we have. So in terms of number of products, they will always be significant, but not all products, when you look at the scale of the business as we are today, is going to be meaningful in terms of how much does it contribute to an existing turnover of Sun Pharma, which we are close to 7,300 crores. But they will drive value as we go ahead. They will make us relevant with the customers to whom we meet, and therefore make us contemporary in their eyes as we move along. So I think it's not new products alone which drive growth. It's doing well with whatever products we have and adding on new products. So both go into the strategic focus that we have.
So just wanted to understand one thing from your marketing perspective is what we had heard, that for every bigger brand you will create 2 sets of marketing channels. One would go on to the bigger cities and the other would promote it. How is that distinction happening?
I don't think we do that in the first place. So we don't have 2 channels for every big product.
Some of your bigger diabetes portfolio products have 2 sets of brands that you are marketing in the market.
Which is something that is not a strategy. It happened for a few products because we acquired Ranbaxy. So we had a brand of a particular molecule, and Ranbaxy had a competing brand of the same molecule. So in the integrated organization, we have a legacy where, due to the integration and the merger of 2 large companies, there are some products where we have 2 brands of the same molecule. But as a standalone company, that was never the strategy.
Would that be a strategy going forward? Do you think that would help you expand your market base?
I don't think that is something that we would try and create on our own, because a better way would be to increase the size of the field force if that's the requirement, if you're not covering the entire population of doctors whom you need to visit, and try and expand the size of your field force but create one large brand. So given a choice, I would always go for one large brand rather than have 2 mid-size or to small brands.
Brands. One question from your various segments, which is the fastest growing segment in the India market right now, and what sort of growth are you?
It happens to be dermatology for what we are meeting up today. So I think the market itself is growing, and I think our challenge again is to grow far faster than what the market is growing at.
One question on the derma market and the derma portfolio that you have, that is also something that you want to push globally, as you rightly mentioned. Going forward,
products, but I think products which have more of a global consumer-facing kind of an opportunity is what we would look at going globally. Having said that, I mean, a large part of our US business is also dermatology, and it's a franchise we are trying to create globally in many markets, but may not be with the same set of products.
Today in the USIBC, Mr. Sanghvi had spoken about how Make in India is one of his strategies, and he's saying that he would innovate in India. If I could use that, comment to ask you about your capacity expansion plans in India, as far as manufacturing in India and innovating in India is concerned. What are your plans there and capex?
I think capex numbers not really relevant here, but clearly what we believe in traditionally is to be able to make the product from the basic stage to the final stage, have an integrated kind of a strategy here, and therefore we would prefer that we make a large number of products in-house, and clearly we do a large part of production in India.
And sir, when you are integrating Ranbaxy capacities with that of Sun Pharma, some of your capacities are being now hived off and sold off. Like you had just announced 2 of your manufacturing units being sold out. Is something like that happening for some of the India facilities, either of Sun Pharma or Ranbaxy, as part of the integration?
Any organization will keep looking at how can you maximize the assets that you have. But these are not things that I have a clear idea of what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. So it would be very premature for me.
That would be on the radar.
I think first objective would always be to utilize capacity. And if we are able to utilize capacity by growing the sales of existing products or launch of new products, then it's always better that you have an existing facility which is already producing. Only if we can't do that and can't find any other use of it, that would be looked at as a last resort. So last resort is not where I would begin with. I think first objective for me would always be, is there a way by which I can utilize more facilities?
So from the manufacturing perspective also comes the regulatory aspect, which is where some of your Indian facilities are seeing US FDA come up with a scanner, Halol and Kharkari being the others. What is the status there as far as US FDA audits in those plants are concerned, and as far as your other manufacturing units are concerned, what is the regulatory status?
I think we said recently in the investors call also, the remediation measures are on track. We hope to complete it in this quarter and then ask for a re-inspection by the US FDA. Of course, it's their choice when they want to come, but I think we will be ready for their visit as and when they are able to.
And as far as the other facilities are concerned, are we having US FDA come up for audits in the last couple of months?
Not to my knowledge.
All right, sir. Thanks a lot for speaking with CNBC TV 18. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.